What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I've been thinking a lot lately about the way our society is breaking down or degrading. Used to in the past, people kept their emotions in check, man. And to have emotional control is to have control of your life. You're not basing every move you make on a whim emotion. And I think our society is breaking that down to the point to where everybody's making moves on emotions. And this whole YOLO thing, you only live once, I really think that people are taking that approach to life to heart. They are living their life to the fullest, and while that's a commendable thing, it can also be very tragic, because when you live your life in that aspect, you tend to indulge on bad decisions. A lot of people are doing that, man. And I just see it breaking down all around me. It's like everything around me, people are kind of like living their lives, a moment at a time. And there's no really forethought to their future or the impact that they're having on other people. And I just see like so many people make these crazy decisions without any real fear of consequence, because they're only going to live once, and I got to indulge on my feelings, and I was talking to a guy today at work, and he told me, he said, if he's a Christian fellow, and he said, if people would be in love with Jesus and put him first, then they wouldn't expect the other people around them in their lives to fulfill them or fill the hole that would be fulfilled by Jesus. And I kind of feel like that's true, and I'm just going to broaden the context out a little bit. We have given up on ourselves as humanity, and we are looking for other people to fulfill our lives, to love us and care for us and sacrifice and do all this stuff. And the moment that things get tough, you want to walk away and move on to the next, or completely dissolve yourself of whatever commitments or situations you put yourself in. And I've just constantly seen the degrading of society over time. The division that's amongst us as people, is very profound. And I think about it a lot now. I might have some underlying anxiety problems, but I tend to think about life affecting things and things that affect my life and things that impact the lives of those I love and how things are perceived. And I tend to dwell on those things. And I've come to the conclusion that we are degrading ourselves down to a point to where we're becoming a people, or we're becoming entities in reality that are becoming okay with everything. Everything is fine. Everything is okay. Everything is acceptable. When we know that's not the case. You know, we know what right and wrong is. We know, that there's a level of integrity and honor that should, that you should keep upon yourself, and you should carry yourself with integrity and honor. But nowadays, people are paid to lie to you. People are paid to mislead you. People are paid to distract you, to get you off their back, or get you off task, or off case, or off focus, or whatever the case may be. And more often than not, people are more comfortable telling you an outright lie than they are telling you the truth. And even though the truth is easy to keep up with, because you don't have to document and log truths, you have to document and log lies to keep up with them. People insist on lying. They insist on, obscuring their true intentions, or whatever they got going on. And when you've got people who are more attuned to lying than they are telling the truth, and you've got a society to where everything is okay, there's no ethical or moral standard involved in any of it. I mean, at what point is it okay to say, it's okay to steal $900 worth of merchandise from a company, in the name of poverty? That's not the right way. Stealing nonetheless. There's better ways of handling poverty, but nobody wants to handle it the appropriate way, because that would entail sacrifice amongst, a certain number of people in our society who are willing to sacrifice anything, and who are attuned to hoarding everything. And life is hard enough as it is, guys. And while I'm not perfect, and I've made my share of mistakes, I try to atone for them. I try to make them right. And sometimes I'll do things with good intentions that turn out bad. I start out doing something that is meant to be good, and somehow it turns out being bad, when I'm just like flabbergasted on how did this happen. But it does. It happens that way sometimes. And just one thing about life, there's that graph you see online. You can look, and it says how my life was planned, and it's got an arrow that goes straight up, at a 45-degree angle on the graph. And then they say how my life really went, and it's like swirl back and forth, up and down, before it gets there. And man, that is a true depiction of what life is truly like right now. The only difference is now, instead of it going up, it's going down. And I just don't understand, as much as I want to try and understand where people are coming from with some of this stuff, and how they view, and the way our society is doing people now, and the hypergamous nature of all the people that we have right now. I mean, everybody thinks that they deserve, somebody higher than them. They deserve to be around people that can offer them things that they can't offer themselves, and they gotta, they gotta be with it. They deserve things on the next level without having to work for them. you know, just because of their essence of who they are. And that's completely wrong. You know, a person's heart, you never know what lies in a person's heart. You never know what lies in the makeup of a person's being. You might look at that scrawny, scraggly nerd. That mug might have the heart of a lion. And you might look at that 300-pound bodybuilder, tough man, or whatever, and he could possibly have the heart of a coward in the depths of it. All I'm saying, guys, is that, you know, change only happens on a mass scale, you know, when like-minded people come together and they make a decision to make change on their own. And change can start very small and trickle out, you know, kind of like throwing a rock in a pond. I mean, that analogy gets used a lot, but throwing a rock in a pond, you got one bloop, one dribble, and then there's waves that roll out. You know, sometimes that's where it needs to start. And, you know, I'm so scared for my kid. Oh, mosquitoes, man. I'm so scared for my kid, man, because he's going to have to grow up in a world, you know, that was vastly different than the one I grew up in. I'm not saying my world was perfect. I'm not saying that the way I lived my younger years and childhood was perfect, but man, there's just so much pressure on the younger generation now to be perfect, you know, and the expectations of people now, not necessarily just in relationship aspects, but also in like your work and, you know, your social interactions. Not only do you have to be, you know, driven, go-getter, have a perfectly clean house, have a perfectly kept yard, you have to go to work, you have to be perfect there, you have to perform at a high level with very little in return, and be thankful for the fact that you get paid every 2 weeks or every week or whatever. And you should be thankful for having the opportunity to make a living for your family. But at the same time, you know, somebody who is giving everything they've got, giving their all, day in and day out, you know, and it's just simply driven, you know, shouldn't be taken advantage of, but they are. And, you know, the pressure of perfection and stuff like that, even the perception of perfection, like what you're putting out there is perfection. You know, that's what, you know, people follow the social medias and they think to themselves, hey, you know, I need to be like this Instagram person that's traveling the world and eating great food and is on beaches all the time and blah, 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 blah. You know, and in reality, they don't know what that person's really doing in life. They don't know how that person's being used or perceived. They might actually be living that grand total life, but they might not be living as good a life as you think they are. You know, it all depends. You know, I mean, what they put out there is what you're seeing, but that's not necessarily what's going on behind the scenes. It's a lot like, you know, the Facebook. You go on Facebook and everybody's life is just perfect and peachy and grand. Behind closed doors, man, it could be turmoil. So all I'm saying, guys, is that, you know, I'm scared for my kid because he's grown up in a society where they're going to expect him to be perfect in every aspect of his life. He's got to be the perfect husband. He's going to have to be the perfect father. He's going to have to be the perfect employee. He's going to have to be the perfect neighborhood participant, the perfect social warrior. And that pressure is going to drive him crazy. That pressure is going to be a lot. And my job as a father is to instill in him that it's okay to fail, that it's okay to be different. It's okay not to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect all the time. That's okay, you know? I've got to instill the self-confidence in him to know that he can fail. He just can't quit. You know, and that's what I'm getting at, guys. Like, the way society is steering people nowadays, it's just like it's very sad, because, you know, people are expected to, people think that they're better than what they are, or they don't think they're as good as what they really are. I mean, and society's got people just confused about everything. It's like everybody's so confused about everything. Nobody knows what to do about anything, because everything is okay and nothing's bad, and the things that are bad or used to be okay. And it's like, nobody really knows where to go, what to do, how to change things. Nobody knows how to think anymore, because they're constantly being bombarded by media to tell them what to think and how to think, what to perceive, what to see, how to see it. They're controlling your mind, man. And, you know, young guys, like little boys like my son, he's going to grow up with all this stuff in his face, man. And I'm afraid for him. But anyway, guys, that's what I'm talking about, the degradation of society. And anyway, guys, I hope you have a nice night.